Okay, so the next sheet in your simple bookkeeping spreadsheet is the money in sheet, and that is relevant to all the payments that you'll be receiving from your customers basically. So every single income type that you've received, every single payment that your business has received, this is where you want to record it. Each row in this sheet is relevant to one transaction. So we'll start in the first column. This is basically the transaction date. Or if it's an invoice that you're issuing, it'll be the invoice date. So let's just pretend, for example, today we're issuing an invoice and we'll put today's date in. If you need to, then you can change it at any point. Just tab along to the next column and it's for your customer details. So you want to make sure that you're tying up the different transactions to the relevant people, relevant companies, just in case you've got any queries, and it helps you stay on track of payments that you are owed and if they've been received yet. So you'll see that when you click or tab into this column, there's a drop down box. When you click on the drop down box, a list of your customers' company names will appear and you simply select the right one. So for example, we'll just click the top one. Now, however, if you click into there and then you realise you've not entered your customer's name into the customer sheet, don't panic, just stop what you're doing. Click into the customer sheet and add their details as you need. Once you've done that, you can click back and their details will appear in here, so it'll update itself. So the next column that you want to go to is the income column. Again, it's got a drop down box, so when you click there, you'll see that there's a drop down of various income types. So we'll say that this invoice is for consultancy, so we'll just click there. Again, if you need to change any income types or amend them, you can go back to your setup sheet, which is the very first one, click there. You'll see here underneath labels, that was your income labels here. So this is what we like to call our smart labels. So whatever you update here will automatically update later on in your spreadsheets. So when you click here, you'll see the new income type. So if you tab along, the next one's details. So this is for you to be a little bit more specific about the transaction. You don't need to fill this in. It's really up to you to make it easier for you to find various transactions, especially if you're going back quite a few months. So consultancy, we could just say it's caps lock on. Just say it's an initial consultancy invoice or whatever is relevant to you, however you like to fill in your information. Reference or invoice number. So we're pretending that this transaction is an invoice. So hopefully you're sending out invoices with invoice numbers on them to keep track of them. So just say it's invoice 1234. The payment due date. So it depends on your payment terms. They might be 14 days, they might be immediate payment, it could be 30 days. We'll just pretend that it's a month from today. So a month from the day of transaction. So we'll put the 6th of August and just tab along. Next is the net amount. So how much is the invoice for, not including any VAT. So you can put £30 here and tab along. Now, if you're not VAT registered, you don't have to fill anything in there. You can just leave it. You don't need to worry about that column at all. We'll just say that you are, and if you click the drop down box, you'll see that you can pick a selection of different VAT types. So we'll say it's standard VAT. When we click there, you'll see that here it's automatically calculated how much VAT that invoice has on it and the total amount of the invoice there. Now, if you ever need to amend any of the VAT rates, then you can again remember go back to your setup page and they are here with the rate amounts there. So back to your money in. Now, this is for when you've received the money. So let's say you know that it's due on the 6th of 8th. However, your customer's been very kind and they've paid immediately. So you can just put in today's date. And it's very important that you do this. If you don't record when you've received the payment, the reports won't reflect this information accurately. So we'll go into that a bit later on. So always remember to come back and update any invoices as soon as you've got the payment. So put in the date, tab along. Now, it's useful to always record how you've received the payment just in case you get any queries. So again, when you click in here, you'll see the drop down box and we'll say they paid instantly, they paid by backs, just pick backs. Again, you can go back to the setup page and you can change this underneath the labels section. Payment reference, this is usually for checks. You can put in a check number that they've paid with just to help you tie everything up. Now, we'll just say there's no payment reference, and that's fine. Now, because it's been an instant payment, this section, this column here, is for you to basically reconcile it with your bank account. So let's pretend it's the end of the month. This is the only transaction you've got for that month, and you've gone into your bank account and you can see that the money's been there. All you have to do is simply hit yes and hit return. When you do that, you'll see that this line changes colour. That's for you to know that the money has been received, it's banked, it's reconciled, everything's fine. You might see during the month some of when you do your reconciliation, if the line isn't green, then it will prompt you to basically follow up and query why you haven't received a payment. So it's definitely a useful thing to keep track of. If you haven't received it, you can either leave it blank, so you can just delete, or you can hit no. It's really up to you. It'll only reflect any changes when you put yes, you've received the money. So don't forget to save your spreadsheet every time you make changes. And that's you. That's how to record all the transactions for money in.